Okay, gentlemen, so we are going to start our today's lecture. So today we are going to start a new course. It is about contract management. Contract management. So we are going to start with the chapter number 1, inshallah. It is about introduction to contract management or construction contracts. So I am Professor Rafiq Muhammad Chaudhry, professor at Construction Engineering and Management in the Department of Civil Engineering, College of Engineering at Ali Imam Muhammad bin Saud Islamic University, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So allow me to say Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulullah, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri, wa uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I cite the dua that Musa was used to ask Allah, "Oh my Lord, open my chest, grant me self-confidence, contentment, and boldness, and ease my task for me, and make loose the knot like defect from my tongue, and remove the incorrectness from my speech, so that my people they can understand me well." So hope with this dua we are going to start today's a new course about contract management. So the introduction, just small things. As you know, we know science knowledge based on observation and experiment, and then in science knowledge, we say the knowledge of like physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, and then engineering. Engineering is then there is a more emphasis on design. In engineering, it's maybe because this contract management will be applicable in all kinds of engineering or all types of discipline of engineering, whether they are civil, electrical projects or mechanical projects or chemical manufacturing engineering or industrial engineering. So maybe material engineering or petroleum engineering, architecture engineering. So because we will study these contract management. In some universities, they offer this course as a contract management. In my university, they offer this course as a construction contract and specifications. Or in some other university, they name construction contracts, or maybe they have name understanding and negotiating contracts. Okay. So it's for civil engineering projects, because projects are for a long time. Like in Riyadh, this metro project was started in 2013, and it is expected to be completed by the end of 2021. Maybe it will take more, maybe sometime more, but it's already 8 years project. And in Pakistan, like we will have Basha Dam, it may take from 8 to 12 years or 10 to 12 years. So if we understand contracts for civil engineering projects, then it will be, people will understand the contracts because usually contracts in other discipline like electrical or mechanical, they are of short period. So they will understand about the contract management. So let's move forward. Yes, so I'm going to follow the book as a textbook in this course is Engineering and Construction Law and Contracts. It's about J.K. Yeats from Printers Hall. This will be the textbook. I will show the first page, and then there are 6 reference books. So you can see whatever book you have, so the content will be, what we are going to discuss, inshallah, will be same, like there is a book, Construction Contracts by Keith Collier, and construction project administration risk and Reynolds. And there is another book about construction contracts by Professor Jimmy, late Professor Jimmy, and construction contract administration for project owners. So there is another book, number 5 is Construction Contract, a practical guide to company management. And number 6 is Understanding and Negotiating Construction Contract, a contractors and subcontractors guide to protecting company assets. So these 6 are reference books. I want to show you, this is the textbook, like engineering and construction law and contracts. So this will be the textbook that I will follow in this course. And these are the reference books. 6 reference books I have listed: construction contracts, construction project administration, again construction contract by Jimmy, late Professor Jimmy, and then construction contract administration for project owners. Another book is construction contracting, a practical guide to company management. So there is another book is Understanding and Negotiating Construction Contracts. A contractors and subcontractors guide to protecting company assets. These are 6 reference books. And inshallah, we are going to discuss the content. So it will be very useful for every engineer, particularly for civil engineers. So we know that for every project we have owner or supplier owner, and then there is a consultant or designer, design consultant. So design consultant, they will have contract with the owner. And similarly, on a project, we will have a contractor or builder, constructor. So contractor will have a contract with the owner. Then under the contractor, there are vendors or suppliers who supply different kinds of materials for the project. And with the prime contractor, there will be subcontractors. They will make contract with the contractor. So, and sometimes, because it's a multi-layer, sometimes a subcontractor, they have another subcontractor. Okay. So this is like the relationship between owner, designer, and constructor. So we will have, discussion like about the engineering contracts, contracts between the owner and the designer, or contracts between the owner and the consultant, or a contract between the owner and the contractor. Okay, so inshallah we will discuss all these things step by step. So let first construction and manufacturing. So you see, like mechanical engineering, so industrial engineering, there is a they manufacture products. They have contracts, but these products usually they design and they manufacture first, and then they are going to sell those products. Say for example your mobile phone, so the company is going to design and manufacture, and then they are going to sell it, so then people can compare. But for civil engineering projects is different, that you cannot buy like a tunnel or bridge or a high-rise building from a departmental store. So these like there is a set of drawings and there is a book of specifications. So then the owner sign a contract with the contractor or with the designer who will design the project, and who will consultant who will supervise the project, and your contractor will build that project maybe for next 2 years, 1 year, or 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, up to maybe some contracts are 3 years or 5 years, some 8 years. So construction is like the owner is already there. So then owner make contract with the constructor, and they have to build that project based on those specifications and according to the contract. So it's more complicated in terms of civil engineering. These contracts, and they have to maintain the quality during the process of construction, for selecting the material quantities and their specifications, and they have to maintain quality control and deliver the projects according to the contract and specifications. So I will be using these kind of terms in this course, like owner, who is the owner of the project, or client, or employer, who is going to employ, a contractor or a consultant or designer. And there is a term I will be using, designer, who is going to design that project. Or some people call them consultant. Okay. And when designer, they design the project, and that design company will be like a supervision consultant during the construction period. So they sometimes, a designer is they just design the project, produce the design drawing, and then during the construction process, a different company will supervise the project. So the consultant on site will be a different company. Okay. But in some cases, this supervision consultant and the designer, they will be same, same company. They have designed the project and they will be supervising on site. But so I will be using these terms, designer, consultant, or supervision consultant. So there is for the contractor, who is a contractor who may contract with the owner, or who is going to build the project, or who is going to construct the project, or we call it a constructor. Okay. So these three parties, they work together: owner, designer, and contractor. So then next term, engineering contracts. So sometime I will be using this term. Engineering contracts means design contracts. Okay, contract for the design or contract between the owner and the consultant. So then there is a construction contract, between the owner and the contractor. Okay. Contractor or builder or constructor, contract between the owner and the contractor, or the contract between the owner or builder, or the contract between owner and constructor. So there will be, we will be using terms like plans, means a set of drawings, or design drawings, and then based on the design drawings, contractor will prepare detailed shop drawings for working, having more details about bar bending and shape of those bars, and block out or any opening. So those will be like the shop drawings. We will go a little more in detail later on. And there will be a book of specification. So this book of specification will prevail. So all the drawings will be prepared based on following the book of specifications. So we will discuss one chapter about the specifications. Because in some university, like in my university, the course name is contracts and specifications. Okay. So okay, then there is a permanent work that become part of the project. Okay. Sometimes we have temporary works, and temporary works, like we make an access road. If we have to construct the main road, so we let the traffic pass from the side, so that will be temporary works. Okay. So the many times, contractor has to do temporary work for even for scaffolding, for casting slab, for the elevator road. So they have to fix the formwork. So they are all temporary works. We will go in detail, inshallah, later on. So today is just the introduction. Okay, introduction. The introduction. Let's from here we are going to start from as it is in the book. So importance of those contracts. Okay, just contract management importance. Contracts are very important because the purpose is that the rule of law must prevail, between the owner and the contractor, or between the owner and the constructor. So they should follow the rules and regulation in their contract. Okay. And when we have for governments, this is the government have to people should follow the rules and regulations. So it is like following rules and regulation. It is going to ensure economic development. Okay, it is helpful for peace. Is helpful in economic development of the country. So promote commerce and trade. So this is if we follow those contracts and all, so it's going to promote commerce and trade and business in the country, and stabilize communities, Population of the country allow government a means to control society. Okay. So this rule of law also allow government to control the society according to the law of the country. So the court system works, and these contracts for different kinds of contracts. Contracts, they are applicable to many, many types. Professionals must implement the law. Okay? So engineers, like engineering is a professional education, whether it's a civil engineering or electrical engineering or mechanical, it's a professional education. So they need to implement the law. They need to implement the contracts. Engineers are guardians of public safety. Okay, so engineers are guardians of the society. They need to protect the public, and they need to protect the welfare of the public, welfare of the society, welfare of the people of a country. So this is very important. Importance of contract, you can imagine it's very important in case there are, even if you buy a ticket, the ticket is also like a contract between you and the airline. And even we have a club membership, so that is also under contract. Hiring contractor or hiring employees or labor, we need to make contract. Even hospital admission slip is a contract. House clearing, we need a contract with the person. Even in insurance, there is a even we have an internet account, or purchasing a home, we need to have a contract. Leasing or buying automobiles, even library card. So even marriage contract. So this is just I'm giving that how important are contracts in our life. Even if we have a saving account in a bank or a current account in a bank, that is also under the contract. It's pest control, procuring engineering services. Procuring engineering services or professional society membership, we should have a contract. Renting or owning of a home or apartment or condominium, we should have a contract. Even for the telephone service, cell phone, we should have a contract with the company to get that service. Selling home, so even software license. Okay. Social security, we need contract. Union membership, even we need to have a contract for the utilities, for water supply, for electricity, for even satellite television, or for the gas. So it's all under the vehicle registration warranties. So it's right, all is contracts. Every time we are facing a contract, even employment contract, so a marriage contract. So it's even the bank loans, how to mortgage loans. So we should have a contract. This is contracts are very important in our life for every engineer, or whether it's not an engineer, even then contracts are important. So let's see if we will move just engineer and contractors must understand contracts. So that's why it's important that engineers, the contractors, constructor, builder, they should understand those contracts, under which they are going to build those projects, engineering projects. So it's a contract, but it's going to set forth the terms and condition of the agreement, between the parties. It's going to set forth the terms and condition. Inshallah, we will study one chapter about terms and condition of the contract. Protect parties to a contract. So who are the parties in the contract, and they put fix the rights and obligation of each party in the contract. Okay. Protect parties when there is a default. Okay. Protect parties when there is a default. Who is at fault? Okay. So in that case, when people make claim on another party, so they have to make submit those claims under the contract. Okay. So then the contract is going to protect the party who is at fault. So sometimes one party is at fault, so they need to give compensate to the other party. Help party to determine who is in breach of contract. So this with the contract understanding, we can understand who is going to breach the contract, who is at fault, give compensation to the other party. You know? So who is going to make loss to the other party? Who is breaching the contract? Okay, who is breaking the contract? Then engineers and constructors need to understand contracts. This is very important that engineers and builders, constructors, contractors, they need to understand about their contracts. You know, what are their obligations, what are their rights. Okay. So it's they need to understand the legal terminology that we are going to use in construction contracts. And they should understand the basics of the contract law. Okay, so these things we will study in this course that people will get understanding about the contract law. Whether a contract addresses the requirements of the engineering and construction projects. So whether a contract is going to address the requirements of the design contract or with the construction contracts between the owner and the contractor. Whether the contract favors an owner to the detrimented disadvantage of the engineer or to the constructor. You know? So, you know, sometimes a contract are written by different parties, and some contracts they favor, you know, they are written in favor of the owner, and sometimes the person writing the contract, so that contract is in favor of the consultant. Okay. So the people who write those contracts, they try to protect their rights, you know. If the contract is written from the owner side, so owner while writing that form of the contract or wording of the contract, they try to protect their rights. So they sometimes those contracts are not balanced. So we should use the standard forms of contract. Standard forms of contract so that every party contract should be balanced. You know? Contract must state clearly what is to be performed. Okay, so every contract things should be explicit, you know, clear. Every party should understand what they need to do, you know, under the contract. So sometimes a party might end up performing more work than was required in the contract. If you are not familiar, so maybe you know if you are not familiar or expert in the contract, maybe you are delivering more services, you know, than what is required under the contract. So it means you by this way, so nothing is free, you know. So between the companies, you know, every company has to protect their rights, and there is a fighting between the companies or claims, you know, because they are fighting for money, you know, between the companies. So everybody should understand the contract and try to, you know, fulfill the obligation and their rights according to the contract. Then laws that influence engineers and constructors. So we should be familiar, you know, what kind of laws they are going to affect our life as an engineer or as a contractor. So this we need to understand the contract law, okay? Contract technology and contract law. And the other laws that can affect our work is like labor laws. Okay, we should understand the labor laws in the country when we are dealing with the people and with the labor force and with the engineers, so employees. And then we should understand the environmental laws. Okay, how we have to protect the environment. Okay, whether we are going to make following those standards like for emissions, you know, for gases or whatever the chemicals we are using. So we need to protect the environment. Okay? We should understand the environmental laws, and then we should understand the safety regulations. Okay, rules and regulation for providing safe working condition for the workforce. So what are the safety rules and regulation? If there is an accident, what will happen? You know? So there is also like a tort law is negligence, carelessness, the construction accidents or even car accidents, they are like unintentional. They are so accident happen unintentionally, and they are then compensation under the tort law. Okay, we will study these kind of things in this course, inshallah. Then we should understand what are the building codes, our standards, and what are the project. We should understand the project specifications. So what are the material standards and workmanship. Material quality of the materials and the quality of the workmanship. Finishing. So then in this, how to write and interpret contracts. Okay, we will learn how to write and interpret those contracts. So construction and engineering contracts are available. So now these standard forms of contract, they are available through the, like if you go to these societies, American Institute of Architect, they have these forms of standard forms of engineering contracts and standard forms for the for the construction contracts. Okay. There is in USA Associated General Contractors Association. They have their form for the contracts. Okay, but there is a engineering joint contract document committee. So this EJCDC, Engineering Joint Contract Document Committee, they have written standard forms of contracts. Okay, in this book we will be following their contracts, what they have written, and these contracts are like accepted within the American Consulting Engineers Council and National Society of Professional Engineers, American Society of Civil Engineers, ASCE, American Society of Civil Engineers, and even these documents are, endorsed by the Associated General Contractors, and then there is another Construction Specific Institute. Okay. So they also endorse these standard form of contract that they think they have written in a balanced form. They are not favoring the owner, or they are not favoring the consultant or the contractor. So they to keep as a joint contract document committee, they have written these standard forms of contract. There are other forms also available, like sometimes we use the FIDIC form of contract in international projects under UNO or World Bank. So we will discuss this later in detail. And there are other professional and trade organizations. They have also issued these contract forms. In each country. So some organizations, they have their own form of contract, because those organizations, they want to protect themselves. So they want their contractors to follow their form of contract, but it's not fair. So we will study all these things. Hope our engineering community should be aware that we are using a standard form of contract that is not favoring any owner, or it is those contract form are not in the favor of the consultant or in the favor of the contractor. So construction contracts, there are contract forms for agreement, and usually this include a set of drawings. There is a book of general condition of contracts, and then there is a book of supplementary condition or particular conditions, special conditions book. So general condition cover all the things, and supplementary condition that is more specific to the project. Okay. So we'll inshallah see these things later. And there is a specification book, technical specification for the project. Okay, based on the different codes and standards. So whatever is work applicable to the project, this book of specification or book of technical specification is going to specify the material standards and workmanship. So any addenda during the bidding process, if there is any changes in any drawing or any condition, supplementary condition or technical specification, so that owner will issue or the consultant representative of the owner will issue addenda, and that will also become part of the contract. Okay, so all these documents become part of the construction contract. Okay. So let's move forward. Engineers need to understand contract laws that impact engineering and construction. Okay, so engineers have to understand these laws that is going to impact the design contract or consulting contracts or the construction contracts. Okay. So then there is difficulties in contract arise due to interpretation, which is caused by. So there is a difficulty. There are vague terms or vague clauses of the contract. So these then people are going to interpret in a different way. Okay. So we will go in detail, and inshallah you will learn in this course all these things. Then sometimes lack of familiarity with the contract. So your contract manager or the company, they are not familiar with these contracts, and the company is going to suffer. This is the contracts is going to protect rights of the company. Or you are going to make money. So you should not be doing extra work or not delivering project below quality something. So you have to follow your contract. So in this course, you will learn how to interpret contract clauses. Okay, so this is like in this course, you will learn how to. We are going to interpret. We will get familiar with those contracts and how to get meaning of those contracts. What is the terms and condition of those contracts? Inshallah, we will learn all these things in this course. Then we will learn how to, once we have written the contract, so how we have to administration of the contract. Okay. How we have to implement that contract. Okay. So it's about contract administration. So it means we will learn about bid proposal evaluation, and we will learn about the act of determining whether the contractor is meeting the construction contract requirement. Okay, whether we are going to meet the construction contract requirement or determining whether the project is being built according to the contract, clauses that we have signed the contract, and those set of drawings, plans, and specifications. So are we going to deliver the project according to the contract? Okay. So it's okay. One of the goal of the company or firm is to avoid breach of the contract. So one of the goal of the company is to avoid the breach of the contract. Like no one should breach the contract. This is the ideal situation, but breach means not fulfilling one or more of the contract legal obligations. Okay, so if we are not following clause or we are not fulfilling one or more of the contractual legal obligations, so there is could be a partial breach or full breach of the contract. So what is a partial breach of the contract? Means a small portion of the contract is not completed. A small portion of the contract is not completed. So it's like it will be a partial breach of the contract. If full breach of the contract means entire contractual obligation is not performed. Okay? Entire contractual obligation is not performed. So if parties are going to breach those contracts, so how we have to solve these things, and these kind of things, inshallah, we are going to study in this course. So engineers and constructors should be aware of the legal liability. Okay, so they should be aware about the legal liability or what they have to fulfill, under the, because it's for them to fulfill the obligations of the contract. Okay, but legally they are liable to fulfill, complete the project. Okay. So then there is we have discussed this as a tort liability, like due to the area of the law that is related to intentional or unintentional acts that result in injuries to individuals or to death, accident happen on the construction site, and some person died falling from height or whatever. So, or property damage resulting from the action or inaction of an individual or individuals of the company. Okay. So these are like, if we travel like a car accident, so how we deal with those car accident, this is the tort liability. Even construction accidents also comes under the tort liability. So unintentional, like a person injured falling from height, or a person, get injury, got from a slippery ground. So it's got injury. So then unintentional, negligence. If something, like in Riya's metro, something fall down from a from height, from the viaduct on the windscreen of the car. So these kind of things we will be discussing under tort liability. So forming in this course, we are going to discuss how we are going to form engineering contracts like design contracts or how about construction contracts, how we make these, how to write and interpret those contracts. And we will learn about terms and conditions of the contract. We will learn about the specifications, and we will learn how the contract are being implemented for government projects, government sector, for constructing different projects. So what are the change orders and how to prepare claim or how to submit a claim. So then if a claim is not accepted, as then parties they are fighting and that claim become dispute between the contracting parties. So what are the dispute resolution techniques that we can follow to settle those claims. So we will also discuss in this course about risk management, about construction insurance. We will discuss and we will discuss about contracts and the laws, applicable laws or arbitration process, okay, how to settle those claims. So then we will also discuss at the end, we will also contractual problems and their solutions. Okay, so we will discuss some practical things about this course, and people working in the industry or in the field will take their questions and answer to their questions, inshallah, in this course. And this course will try to make it more practical from the experienced people who are working in the industry, in the construction industry or engineering industry, or they are involved in building projects. They are expert in these contracts and claim settlement. So we will discuss those contractual problems and suggest those solutions and answer to their questions, inshallah, in this course. With this, gentlemen, so inshallah, we will cover in depth all the topics that we have discussed here in this course. And with this, I'm going to finish today's chapter 1 introduction to the introduction to the contract management course. So allow me to say at the end, Subhanakallah wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. So see you next time, inshallah, with the next video, and hope you will enjoy this course. Thank you very much. So nice of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.